Good morning, guys. We are back again. Vauxhall Vivaro, Renault Traffic, Nissan Prime Star, whatever you want to call it. Today we're doing the back brakes. It's the one we've had in before, you might recognise it. The chap has tried to do the rear handbrake and change rear pads on his own, and he's gotten into some major difficulties. So he's brought it back here, so I'm going to show you how to do it now, and then I'm going to get him to watch a video next time he wants to do it. So this should show you how to do it. Let's go. By the way, don't forget to subscribe. If you like this video, hit subscribe, because then if you keep subscribing, I can keep making more videos and we can keep learning stuff, you know? So don't forget, hit subscribe. First thing you want to do, jack it up, stick an axle stand under there, chuck the front wheels so it ain't going to roll away from you, and we're going to do the brakes. So don't leave the handbrake on, because obviously that's going to lock up the rear caliper. And then first thing to do is take the lid off the brake reservoir, because when we're compressing the brake in, we've got the fluid's got to go somewhere, and if you don't take the lid off the reservoir, you can flip the seals in the master cylinder and you'll cost yourself some more money. So we'll do that now. This is the one. Lid off there first. Pretty full anyway, just so that the fluid's got somewhere to go when you start squeezing that piston back in. Very important. Right, wheels off. You can see the disc is in pretty bad shape there. Lucky it's a solid disc. I'm going to advise he changes these, but I don't think, I mean, he's desperate for his van back, obviously, but there's quite a bit of metal there. I'm going to measure them. There's usually a marking on the disc around here. It'll show you its minimum depth, 6 mil, 8 mil, whatever. Once it gets to that, that has to be changed by law then. So that's probably just about okay, but I'm going to check it and measure it anyway, and then advise him to get some new discs on the rear. The bolts on the back here, you got one on the top here and one on the bottom down here. They're both 13 millimeter. So we're going to free that up now. The top one I've already done. You see the back bit spinning there? That's his backing plate. You need a 15 mil spanner to hold the thing tight, right? On the top there. Where are we? Yeah, so we get that on there. And then we can undo that while holding that one. See? So I'm doing this with one hand while holding the camera and a torch and talking to you guys. They say men can't multitask. Okay, right, they're both out. They go safely in there. Now we'll try and wiggle this off. Look, we get the caliper. Hopefully, I've left the handbrake off. There's a bit of movement in there. We're going to wiggle the thing off and then see what the pads look like from inside there. I'll show you that in a minute. Right, don't know if I'm going to be able to do this with just my left. No, I need my other hand. Sorry guys, 2 seconds. Okay, caliper's off. It's heavy, right? You don't want to just leave it dangle, because it's going to cause pressure on the brake line. So I'm going to hook it back into there and leave it there for now, right? Yeah, that one's pretty bad. That one is non-existent. Look at that. Lovely job. Caught this just in time. Okay. Well, the sliders all feel good. See, these things, the sliders, they need to be free moving, top and bottom. Yeah, they're fine. Otherwise, you're going to get a seized caliper. And it's not going to be the caliper, it's just going to be the sliders. So it's good maintenance. Every time you take a brake off, give them a good, decent oil up. Right. See, that requires a tool to go in it, but because I've done this 1,000 times, I use a clamp and I'm going to use some pipe grips. So I'm going to set that up, hang it up from the suspension there with a bit of wire so it doesn't hang, and then get back to you. Right, caliper's off. Here we go. So that's what it looks like. First thing to do, make sure one of the big problems is that the piston, this bit here, rusts if the dust boot, this bit here, has a split in it. So you can see there's bits of shiny metal from where it's been taken off the brakes, but I don't think this has a split in it. So therefore, I'm hoping that the actual piston itself is nice and clean. Oh yeah, that's not bad, look at that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little bit of WD-40 in there so that it all spins nice on the rubber. And then we're going to get a clamp onto here on the back, obviously the spinny bit here, and we're going to start to rotate this in. So, all right, okay, probably better tell you about that first. See the fact that it's got two pipes going into the back of it there? The one with the spring around it is your brake line with the fluid, and the green bit is your handbrake cable, because this rear caliper does your handbrake as well as your foot brake. Makes it a little bit more complicated inside. Normal calipers, the piston just comes out with fluid and then goes back in, simple. But you've got to have an extra method for your handbrake, because handbrake, or emergency brake as they call it in America, is designed if your brake lines blow out, you've got a method of stopping, right? So it's got a mechanical method inside it. Imagine it like a big screw, basically, right? As I pull my handbrake cable on, it pushes the screw out, so it's got a separate method of moving this than the fluid. And simply, we have to screw it back in to get it back on. And that's what a lot of people struggle with. So I'm going to get a clamp on here, some gentle pressure in between. I'm going to rotate it clockwise until it goes in, after I've WD'd in the inside. It's just proper procedure. Right, so for this job, we're doing the Vivaro calipers, rear, and the handbrake, right? So although there is a kit you can buy, a caliper rewinding kit, which works brilliant, right? There's lots of different ways out there. You can check them out on the internet. Sounds like something's about to crash in my backyard. Never mind. But yeah, the way I'm going to show you is, because a lot of people haven't got the money to go out and spend it on specific kits for doing this. So I'm going to show you the old school way of doing it with a clamp and some vice grips, right? Then afterwards, if you want to do yours, you can make a decision if you want to go out and buy the kit or do it the old school way. I do have the kit, but I'm going to show you this way now. Cool, guys? Let me get you set up here, right? So I've put a little bit of WD-40 under here to get it moving nicely. I think someone else has had a go at this already. I've got my clamp set up, just nicely on there, nice on there. It's like, yeah, it's not that tight, right? Just gentle pressure. And I've got trusty grips. And again here, do not snag the dust boot with your grips, right? Be very careful like that. And if I can do this and hold it at the same time, which is proving difficult, I'm trying to set you guys up somewhere so you can see. Okay, a few turns. Now, tighten the clamp up. You see it's loosened because it's working. So I'm going to go like that. Just keep half a turn on here, half a turn on the clamp until it is nice and flush. I can feel it going back in already. See, 2 little turns like that. Makes the clamp nice and loose. Tighten that back up, so on and so forth. I'll show you once I've done it. So that's what it looks like now. Right, so we're all wound back in now. That's what it's supposed to look like. That flush there. I'm going to test it with the pads now, make sure they fit. One more thing. To engage the handbrake again, you have to undo this piston a quarter of a turn. Super important. If you don't do that, your handbrake won't work. I mean it just won't work, no matter how hard you pull that lever. So undo that a quarter of a turn, the opposite way to the way you've just been turning it, which anti-clockwise, you need to turn it, and you'll feel it come back out again. So you need to screw it in further than it needs to go. So half a turn back out or quarter of a turn back out, re-engage it. Nice, so you know whether the quarter of a turn is. I've left them both forward and backwards so I can easily judge where a quarter of a turn is. Then I'm going to put a bit of copper grease on them, clean them up a bit, and then stick it all back together. Cool. Also, because I wound it back in so much, this is now brim full. You see, that's what I meant when I said the fluid's got to go somewhere. So I'm going to syringe a little bit out now, and so I've got room for the other side. That's why we take the cap off there. Right, so I've gone at least a quarter of a turn back the other way. You can see from that angle there, I could see it coming straight out as I did. So that's re-engaged the handbrake mechanism. My pad's here, I put a little bit of copper grease on. That one is the same shape of the pad, and that one, the piston, and that one's going to be the front of the caliper. Just, it stops it squeal. I don't know what wizardry does it. I put a little tiny bit of grease on the edges here because I like them to have super free travel while they're in there. I'm going to pop all this back together now, tighten it all back up, and then move on to the other side. Once I've done that, I'm going to tweak the handbrake cable from inside, which I loosened to start with, top the brake fluid up, double check the brake pedal, and we should be good to go. Well, hope you enjoyed watching this, guys. Yeah, if you want to do your brakes, then this is the correct way to do it. I see a lot of people struggle with that internal handbrake mechanism. So yeah, hope this helps. Take care. Peace. Yeah, also, when you finish this thing, you're going to get in it, stand on the brake pedal a bit. You're going to have nothing on the brake pedal as the pistons push out. Don't even look at the handbrake. Don't even think about touching the handbrake. Press the brake pedal with the engine running until it gets firm, like brakes should be, right? That means your pistons have traveled all the way out, and only then do you pull the handbrake up. Reason being for this, the handbrake only has so much movement when you pull the handbrake up and down. The pads only travel so much. And if you do that while the pads, before they've adjusted, you've used up all your handbrake adjustments straight away anyway. And so you don't want to do that. So what you want to do, get in it, press the brake pedal till it gets firm, only then do you touch the handbrake. Then lift it up and it should all be hunky-dory then. Tighten it up, you should be grand. Cool. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe, because if you keep subscribing, then I'll keep doing more videos and you get to learn stuff. So, hope you enjoyed my video. Hit subscribe. Nice one, guys. See you next time.